You don't have to apologize for smiling.
What?
You don't have to apologize for smiling.
Oh.
If you were frowning or angry, we'd be like, hey, what's going on?
Alright, okay. I'm Denise. Going back to your family, what if your children, in the coming years, would approach all three of you and say, fathers, we want to be musicians?
Well, first of all, they have one father.
Wait.
So
I am not responsible for his kids. I'm responsible for my kids.
you make it sound like the mafia.
I'm gonna give them an answer. I'm gonna give them.
What would we do?
Okay, wait, fathers.
We would ask them all the other things that they could do. Can you do anything else besides music?
Wait, that's not. Fathers want to be musicians, and we want to call our group Hanson.
Well, we would ask
What
them.
would be your first reaction?
I would first have them checked. I would first have them brain checked.
I would say first, son, you're not nearly creative enough to be a musician. If you think that you can't come up with your own name for a band, that would be the first problem. You know, Hanson already exists, so maybe you should go back to the drawing board and try. The thing about being a musician, about choosing sort of this kind of a lifestyle, is if you ask for permission, you're probably not somebody who should be doing it.
Yeah.
So if my son or daughter, or let's say I had more than 2 kids, I only have 2 kids, but if I had 4 children and they came and said, we want to be a band, I'd say, no you don't, because you shouldn't ask for it. We didn't ask anyone. We didn't say, hey mom, we'd like to be a band.
Maybe give us a pass.
And I think that's really the key. We jokingly say, when people go, so, what advice do you give to people who want to do music? Our joke is always, if you can do anything else, do it.
If you can do anything else, I'd be happy.
The thing about being a musician is it has to be something that's just stuck inside you, that you can't get away from. You can't be happy doing another job. And part of the reason that's true is because it's too hard of a job. There are so many talented people. Well, there are so many talented musicians in the world, and 99% of them never get the bills. The joke about musicians, the joke is that musicians invented unemployment because there's so many of them that can't even pay the bills. And so that's why it's really important that if you're going to choose that, if it was our kids, that you've got to have the drive on your own. You've got to know that you're good enough. You've got to know that you're going to make it.
If our kids are going to do music, we're going to find them in their rooms, having written and recorded 20 songs all by themselves, and us discover that, wow, what have you been? That's what you've been doing? What are you in your spare time? Yeah. Okay. Well,
I can't imagine that some of our kids won't be at least musical or creative or artists in some form, just because there's so much art around and so many tools sitting around, pianos and guitars and things, just to express yourself. And so I think
God help them.
All right.
Yes, God help us all if there's another Hanson in the world.
Okay, from Philippine star Katrina Tan. Katrina, you can take this one. Where is Katrina? This one. All right, here we go.
Okay, first of all, congratulations on the valuable work that you do as an independent artist.
Thank you.
It's really great because I'm an independent visual artist and writer myself, and I know how much courage it actually entails to deviate away from the prevalent system where the artist is a pawn played on a chessboard, and art is reduced to mere commodity. So I know how it feels.
Best question yet. Maybe. So far, you haven't even asked a question. Sorry.
So for you, what is the best thing about carving your own path and being an independent artist? And what, if you could say something, like an advice to other creative people who are along that path, what would it be?
In 2003, we formed our own label, and we left the label we were with. Essentially, we were with Universal.
And
there's a documentary about it.
yeah, there's a documentary about it.
Phil throwing up the break, which is...
And I think the important thing for us is we never, forming the label was not a decision to stick it to the man, or a decision to
carve our
change,
own, new
change ourselves.
Yeah.
We're going to find a new way to be Hanson. For us, every choice we've made along the way as far as our career is really just finding ways to follow that original vision for us. Our original inspirations as musicians, who we wanted to be. And so every time we run into an obstacle where we go, okay, well, this relationship with this manager or this label isn't working, you just go, okay, I'm going to find a new one. And in our case, I think what we've seen is, our first record came out in 1997, right? And that was really a completely different music business, especially in the U.S., but globally was a completely different music business. And so by the time we got to 2003, what we realized was the music business was completely different, but the way that the people we were working with were trying to treat the business was exactly the same. And we just said, you know what, we need to do something different. And in our case, we looked around the room and we said, okay, here's all these other labels. None of them are doing the things that we think are the future of the business, and the relationship between the artist and the fan base, the way it should be, where the focus should be, wasn't there. And so it was really sort of out of necessity that we said, well, we'll form our own label because this is the way that we're going to be able to follow our vision for the relationship with our fans, the way music should be released. Not really out of like I said, it's not about, labels are bad, big companies are bad. It's really just about sort of finding the future and being entrepreneurs and being creative about the way that we look at our business and not being afraid to challenge yourself more than just your art, but in the way that people perceive it.
The other way to say it, I think, would be that we found ourselves in a situation where the business was a roadblock for us. Communicating with our fans and getting the music out the way that getting the music out that we thought was worthy of being released. And so ultimately we feel like, our choice was to make the business and the art work together, not work separately.
I think she was asking the point about, we like to talk, sorry. Specifically as far as the choice and exactly the point. We've never been running from anybody, from anything. But the difference, I think, for the future, looking forward, artists have to embrace the fact that you're an entrepreneur. You have to see yourself. You have to be willing to manage yourself. And for all the things that you want to be able to ignore, know that if you ignore them, someone else will pick them up, and they will probably be, not necessarily in your best interest. And I think our passion is what we make. We make music. The reason we wanted to play a song before the press conference is because this is not what we do for a living. This is what we do for a living. And I think that's what we are passionate about. And for the future of music, there's more people buying music and getting music than ever. They're just paying a lot less for it, unfortunately. And I think what we see the future as is that you're getting fans to invest in you, in what you are, not, in the song and in the show and in the T-shirt and in everything that's about your music and around your music. And we think the more artists that are willing to not be afraid to embrace that whole picture and realize that they, have some guts, then, like you said, it takes some courage. Once you step out there, you realize that there's a brave new world. So I think we're also always open to finding great partners, and we're not thinking about it from the point of view of the next song or the next album. We're thinking about it from what's 10 years from now. And, hopefully between now and then we will have come back to the Philippines.
Several times.
Too long, man. Thank you.
Thanks a lot, and keep staying true to yourselves.
Thanks. We don't know how to do anything else.
That's true. Thanks to your others.
All right.
We've tried to get him to stay true to someone else for years.
I said, can you be someone else? and strangely, I've developed a bipolar tendency.
Yeah, it's weird. This is a personality.
Okay. Next, we'd like to call in Mayro Valero from Mix Philippines. You got a question? Where are you?
Oh, here he is.
Oh, here he is. Okay. Okay.
I feel like we're getting arrested over there.
Sheriff.
Yeah.
Outside music and your family life, what other things interest you, like hobbies?
Sure.
Well, Zach is the serial hobbyist.
I'm a serial hobbyist. One thing, particularly these last couple of albums, just visual arts have become a much bigger thing for me. A lot of painting. If you look at the Shouted Out artwork, we did a lot of painting for it. When the album came out in the U.S., we actually sold paintings that were all hand-done, a part of the album. So that's been a big thing for me, especially in the last couple of years, really making that more of a focus.
We're all kind of artists in different ways. I mean, I love photography and writing and all kinds of different creative outlets.
Xbox. A lot of Xbox. Playing airsoft.
So it's like shooting people in real life and on video games.
I don't really have very many hobbies. My hobby is decompression.
Yeah, Ike likes to do his hair. Ike likes to do with his kids. He's saying that.
All right. Next, we have Jaime Ortega from Manila Concert Scene. Okay.
Hi, Zach and Taylor. This is very nostalgic because you were my favorite band when I was in high school.
Awesome.
And I'm 30 years old now.
We were in high school too. So.
Okay, great. Anyways, I'd just like to say I'll come to you. That really helped me cope with the death of my mom when I was younger. So that really touched me. So anyways, I always imagined I'd be telling you guys this. Anyways, I'd just like to ask, have you had any similar touching experiences with fans? Like that, some help them cope with a loss or a breakup. Thank you.
We, I don't think we could name a specific one, but yeah, have had other stories from people that have talked about music playing a role in a bad time. And honestly, when you get into making music, it starts by loving something else, somebody else's songs and someone else's music. So it's amazing to have a role in different people's lives in some way through a song. We've had lots of experiences with that.
In a lot of ways, music is therapy for us. It gets you through things, and many of the songs that you write are about those kind of things, or at least are inspired by feeling those kind of feelings, or thinking about those kind of things. Whether it be the loss of someone who's significant in your life, and then passing, or whether it be challenges in your life and trying to get through obstacles that you've run into, whether it be personal or something that someone else is going through as well. And so I think in so many ways, as Taylor said, you're a fan first, and you've had those experiences as well. And so it's a real honor to have the opportunity to connect with people in so many different stages of their life, starting off as young teenagers and then working your way to adulthood, and having those consistent experiences with people is a pretty amazing thing, and not something that we take for granted. We're really honored that our music has been able to play, hopefully, a positive role in people's lives as they go through those ups and downs.
All right, thank you. Next, Stephanie Moreno of Astro Plus.
Hi, good afternoon. Before I start asking my question, I'd just like to say thank you very much for that awesome performance right there.
Thank you.
And you guys look amazing. Okay. Anyway, I'm from Astro Plus, and we are the ones handling your meet and greet later.
Yes.
And your fans are already waiting there, very excited to see you. So may we ask, what would be your message for them that you can tweet while they're waiting?
We hope you brought umbrellas. Yes, that's our first message. Stay there. We'll be there soon.
Thanks for waiting in line.
We'll try not to operate on Hanson time and just go on normal time. Hanson time usually means a little bit late.
Yeah, so we're going to try and be early to this show. Signing.
Are you guys going to perform there?
We're just going to be signing.
I'm just going to be meeting you.
Alright.
But we have a concert tomorrow. We will be performing just again today.
We're very grateful to have people waiting in advance, especially when it's been a long time.
They've actually
And
been
so
waiting
we're
for 12
very humbled by that and excited to meet them.
Alright, thank you very much. Enjoy your stay here.
Thank you.
Thank you. Next, we'd like to call in Elaine Garag of Chalk Magazine. Where's Elaine? Are you here? Elaine. Oh, you're here.
Hi guys. Good afternoon. My question is, going back to music being your therapy,
Yes.
off the top of your heads, can you name specific songs that you can say have changed your lives?
Songs of our own?
I can list 3 right off the top of my head. Johnny Be Good, because it was the seminal song for me, and I think in many ways for Taylor and Zach as well, that it started a compilation tape from 1958, and that song was basically the reason why not only I wanted to play guitar, but ultimately the reason why I wanted to do music in the first place, because all the songs that were on that tape were songs that we memorized and then ultimately sang together and things of that nature, and has been a consistent part of inspiration for us as we've gone on for the last 20 years. Then songs like She's Got Away by Billy Joel, because that's the song that I wish I wrote. And we'll hopefully, someday write a song that is somewhat even remotely close to that good. And then also a song by Ben Harper called Another Lonely Day, because when I was going through a really rough breakup, that song was so depressing, it made me happy. I was like, it's really bad for me, but it is so much worse for him. It's like, if he's that low, I can only imagine, I'm up from there. So thanks, Ben Harper, for, being so
really
depressed on the record.
Thank you. What about Zach and Taylor?
We can't follow that.
I think a lot of songs inspire us, and different things play different roles at different times in life. I think particularly probably more artists, I think, than just songs. I think we've grown up idolizing great writers. Billy Joel and Paul Simon and Otis Redding, and sort of guys who write these songs that you sing forever. It's not about their playing, about, oh wow, the look he did. It's about the song that everyone around the world, language barriers are crossed. And so those are the things
I was just thinking about a couple. Nick Drake, for sure, like the Pink Moon album, thinking about albums now.
Oh yeah.
All the You Can't Leave Behind U2 album was particularly, we were doing all kinds of things at that time. I remember that summer when that album came out. But yeah, music is powerful, so that's why we like doing it.
Bobby McFerrin, Simple Pleasures. Yes.
This is the best.
Thank you.
Thank you. Next, we'd like to call in Jeff Fernando of TV5 News. Jeff is right here.
Hello.
Hello.
Hi. If there's one artist to revive who will you give it to? And
you have to have guts to do it. And the thing that's unique about, honestly, the thing that's hard about covering our songs is you have to have vocalists. You have to have multiple vocalists in the band. A lot of people have sung songs of ours. You hear, go on YouTube and you hear random videos that people do. It's hard to recreate. Not necessarily saying that it's amazing, but it's just hard to recreate in a band, three singers and players. So let's see. Are there any bands that have three harmonies?
I don't know. The Bee Gees would have been awesome. Please.
I'm thinking
you want Morris to come back?
Maybe the Doobie Brothers.
Yeah, the Doobie Brothers. Unfortunately, like Taylor said, there aren't as many. They struggle to find bands, where it's actually players and vocalists. You have a lot of one or the other. A lot of where there's a band but only one singer, or vocal groups but no band behind
because
it.
It would be or then it would be one guy singing. Yeah, exactly. It'd be like the Bob Dylan version, which would be weird.
It could be fun to have someone more random do it. Like why don't we have Mumford & Sons do their version, which would be they have enough harmony in there that they could probably pull it off.
Yeah,
they do a slightly rootsier version of
the kick drum would be really boomy.
Yes.
Yeah, I'd like to hear the Dr. Dre version.
We already got the scratches in there.
All right. Next, we'd like to call in Jovic Yi of Philippine Daily Inquirer. Jovic.
Gosh, we're leaving out this side. Can we go to this area?
I don't know. Here we go. At least you got lucky here.
Good afternoon, guys. In 10 years, how would you like to be remembered in the music scene? 10, 20.
Hopefully we're not being remembered in 10 years. Maybe let's say 30 years. Well, honestly, it goes back to what we're saying. I mean, the truth is that we're nerds about music. I mean, we love songwriting, and we could probably just as easily be songwriters and producers, and not even we like the music side a lot. So I think probably we want to be known for writing songs that last. Writing music that stands the test of time. That still is holds up down the line. And I think there's a lot of other things about what we do, whether it's the activism or other things about our band that we feel passionate about. I think the choice to be independent and kind of the career path is something that I think is a part of our story now, because it really just comes from the point of view of our passion for the whole industry, the whole idea of great art and great music, and kind of taking some leadership to run out there and try things. But ultimately, I think just being known for songs that that stand the test of time, and say, well, Hanson's written music that lasts. So.
All right, next we'd like to call in Melissa De Quiros of Cosmo.ph. Okay, right in front.
Hello guys, thank you for coming back.
Glad to be back.
Okay, so first of all, I've been a fan since 1997.
Thanks so
And
much.
I apologize if ever I stutter or if ever I pass out.
You seem okay.
This is a dream come true, by the way, both on a personal and a professional note.
Great, thank you so much.
So my question is, can you, if you were to say anything about each other, share anything to us, what would it be? First,
is it good or bad?
Your choice.
Because we have both.
Okay, so neutral. First, as musicians, and second, as brothers. And I have a second question. If you could shout out something to the world, what would it be?
Hey, these are hard questions. Let's see. Pessimist, actually, idealist, realist, optimist. That's the three most. And personally, let's see.
Makes me the most negative, doesn't it?
Well, no, I guess.
No. There's a very negative side to being an idealist. It means you're never happy.
I think. Let's see. What things personally? Old man Hanson, hobbyist Hanson, erratic Hanson.
I think it's broken Hanson. He just breaks everything.
Yeah. I should be a tester for things and see how fast. And shout out. What do we shout out?
Carpe diem, seize the day.
Oh, that sounds really.
No, I know, but it's true. I mean, or the other thing would be what's the Thomas Edison quote? They're so great. Oh yeah, most people avoid work because well, no, what is it?
Oh, he's throwing in a quote he can't.
I'm gonna mess up. No, it was.
Don't try and quote.
It's gonna mess up the quote. It's a really great quote.
So anyway, Carpe Diem seize the day. That's a pretty good one.
99% perspiration, 1% inspiration. Thomas Edison. That's another one. It's really great.
Is that what you would shout out?
Yeah.
That's not a very big shout out.
Go perspire. That's what I say. Go
and
sweat.
use Axe body spray.
Exactly.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, sorry about that. Next, John Bueno of Comacao.com. Oh, right here.
Hi guys.
Hello.
I can't talk. Okay. Anyway.
You do pretty well.
Alright. Let me just ask you, a lot has changed between your songs in 1997, of course, and the one that you're singing tomorrow night. What particular song in your album represents any one of you? Like, if you had a choice between
just on the new album?
Yeah. Just one favorite among all your songs in your album. What would it be?
In all the albums or just in the new album?
Just in the new album.
Oh gosh, that's hard.
This is not a quiz show, but go
yeah, it's not a quiz show. I will just say, it is always hard to pick one song. I mean, to be perfectly honest, the whole career is what represents you as a whole, because it's these little pieces, and I think, I'm a big fan of architecture and art and painters and all those different expressions. People are like putting a piece of themselves into all the different ideas. So I think with songs, it's the same way. It's like it's a little slice. I think as far as songs that we're proud of, I mean, the opening song on the record is where the title comes from. It's called "Waiting for This," and to me, I'm always excited when that particular song arrives. It feels like the opening, the introduction, to whatever that mood is and whatever that period is. And I think that the song's called "Waiting for This." It kind of goes back to the quote, "Seize the day." It's about kind of attacking the moment, going for the moment, living, life, and
not waiting for tomorrow.
So I don't know if that represents me altogether, but it is it's a statement that I think really rings true for our band and goes back to what we are trying to say when we go out every night, which is, this could be the last night or the first night, but you gotta kind of embrace the moment. So.
I mean, there are probably several songs. I don't know. I think "Thinking About Somebody" for me is one, because I've always been incredibly infatuated with the kind of Motown and early R&B kind of sound, whether it be late 50s or early 60s. And for me, that song, embodies a lot of things that we are as a band and a lot of our influences. And so I think that, and also as a guitar player, it's this very, very rhythmic. It's not power chords. I never wanted to be a rock band. I always wanted to be, if I was going to be remembered as a guitar player in any way, shape, or form, it would be as someone who had groove, who had it was funky, for lack of a better way to say it. And a song like that has that feeling. And so that's, I think, a pretty good example.
I guess it leaves me. I think probably the song "Musical Ride" is a good one, just because it's all about music. It's all about the ride that we have been on for 20 years. And it sort of talks about how sometimes music gives you nothing and sometimes it gives you everything. And I think that's sort of an appropriate song to what this experience is.
On behalf of the vloggers, welcome to the Philippines.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. We're down to just the one last question. This time is from Nerissa Almo of Dep.ph. Okay, right here.
Hi, welcome back to the Philippines.
Thank you.
We know you as a group since 1997. As you grow up, did any one of you think of going on a solo?
Honestly, we've never focused on solo projects because we have so much to do as a band. It's hard to find a pair of people, that you can make music with as fluidly and share kind of the same aspirations. That being said, I can't imagine that in the rest of our careers there won't be other projects and things, and you have to do things you're excited about. So we've never closed that door, but I think we have still a lot to do as a band. So we're excited about being back here and excited about what we have ahead. Cool. I guess that's it.
Okay, apparently one last.
Okay, one more.
From About Eve Online, Kathy. Okay.
Hi guys, I'm really sorry. I just had to ask you this question. Firstly, just wanted to say how happy we are that you guys are here.
Thank you so much.
It's really awesome, and seeing you guys after a long time. And then my question really is, how is the creative process? I mean, how does it go for you guys? And how is the creative process for this album different from before? I mean, because we could definitely see that this album is quite different. I mean, the vibe, the sound is quite different from the previous album. So, did you change anything with how you guys thought about writing songs, or?
It's a good question.
I would actually say that there is one thing that is probably particularly unique about Shout It Out versus the other records. I mean, I think there's always been that consistent, influence of, the harmony that we do together, and also the rhythmic kind of infatuation with the early R&B music and things like that has been consistent. But the thing that I think is most unique about the creative process was actually that more than any other record, we were actually sitting down as a band, really working through the arrangements as a trio, not just sitting there with a guitar and working out the lyrics and then going and deciding what the arrangement was. It was almost as though the arrangement itself and some of the other things, some of the other aesthetics, the sounds and things were dictating the path and the song a little bit more than other records have. And I think you can hear that in the fact that the album sounds very,
it has a very natural sound to it. It sounds very real and very raw and very present. It's not, you don't hear a lot of artificial things.
Sure. I think one thing that's unique about this record is it's probably the most positive record we've ever made.
Yeah.
And I think part of that is just, it's also probably the easiest record we've ever made. I think the whole process was very fluid. It was just sort of, the songs were there, the people we worked with who were the engineers and the mixers and things, it just sort of fell together in a really natural, easy way.
I mean, there's always the struggle to get the best performance and to get the right parts, but as far as the general feeling of making this record, I think when you look at what the songs are about, when you look at the general feeling of it, I think it was a really a record that was, I think, infused with sort of a pride of hey, we've done a lot, we've been around a long time, and we feel good about it. Yeah. And I think that's what we see. It's maybe the core difference in this record is just sort of that ease of the way we play it, the way we record it, just sort of the feeling of really gelling and really knowing where we are and who we are.
It's nice to be on your fifth album and have it be the easiest album. Usually, people get kind of tired of each other and bands kind of have issues, but we'll cross our fingers for the next one. Then we can actually make it album number 6. Can we just skip 6 and go to 7? Thank you so much.
Thank you. So we got one last thing to do, but before we get to that, can we give another round of applause, please? Haley, Zach, and Isaac.